A Baltimore County police officer's body cam captured the scene at 11:17 p.m. on July 28, 2021. A 2008 Ford Focus pulled over on Eastern Boulevard near Wagner's Lane in Essex. Fake West Virginia, temporary tags. No insurance. No registration. The driver with no license. When the officer told the driver the car would be towed, she made a statement that stopped him cold. She said she would not be there in 5 days. She said they would see her on the news making her big debut. The officer instructed her to remove personal belongings before the tow. She opened the trunk, pulled out a plastic tote, a trash bag, a suitcase wrapped in a blanket. The officer detected an unmistakable odor of decomposition. Maggots crawled inside one of the bags. He ordered her to open the suitcase. She unwrapped the blanket. Inside, the decomposing body of a child. She tried to flee. Officers caught her. A search of the vehicle revealed a second body, a plastic bag tied at the top, another child inside. Their names were Jocelyn Marie James Johnson and Larry Darnell O'Neill, 7 and 5 years old. Brother and sister. Jocelyn weighed 18 pounds at autopsy. Larry weighed 21 pounds. Doctors determined it would have taken several months of severe malnourishment to reach those weights. The driver was their aunt, Nicole Michelle Johnson, 33 years old. She had been entrusted with their care since November 2019, when their mother, Deshelle Johnson, moved from Dayton, Ohio to Maryland. Deshelle had been unable to provide for the children. She left them with her sister. She thought they would be safe. Jocelyn had been the older sibling, the caretaker. In Dayton, she would help change Larry's diapers. She doted on her little brother, protected him. Larry was the troublemaker, the one you looked for when flour ended up on the floor or cookies went missing. Their great-uncle James Phillips had helped raise them in Dayton before they moved. He called them beautiful, lovable children. They lived normal lives until November 2019. Jocelyn attended Dayton Public Schools. Larry was not yet old enough for kindergarten. They called their great-uncle and his late wife Papa and Nana. Then their mother moved to Maryland. Left the children with Nicole. Promised it was temporary. Both bodies were transported to the office of the chief medical examiner. The cause of death for both children was later ruled homicide by unspecified means. The decomposition was so severe that precise determination was impossible. Nicole Johnson was placed under arrest at the scene. She was charged with 2 counts of first-degree child abuse resulting in death of a child under 13. Additional charges included neglect, failure to report death, and disposal of human remains. She was held without bond. Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt issued a statement. She called it a devastating incident, one that shocked the community to its core, one that significantly affected the patrol officers, forensic technicians, and detectives who responded. She commended the department members who worked to bring justice to the innocent young victims. The traffic stop happened 1 week before what would have been Larry's 6th birthday, August 4th. He would have turned 6. Instead, his decomposing body was found in the trunk of his aunt's car, next to his sister, both of them wrapped in plastic bags like garbage. In May 2020, Nicole Johnson was staying at the Regal Inn on Pulaski Highway in Baltimore County. Jocelyn and Larry were with her. Larry was asleep. Jocelyn was awake, acting up. Nicole later told police the 7-year-old was stealing things that belonged to her. Nicole became angry. She hit Jocelyn multiple times, hard enough to make the child fall. Jocelyn's head struck the floor. She stopped moving. Nicole did not call 911, did not attempt CPR, did not seek medical help. Instead, she put Jocelyn's body in a suitcase, placed the suitcase in her car trunk, kept driving. For over a year, Nicole Johnson drove around Baltimore County with her niece's decomposing body in her trunk. She continued caring for Larry, or claiming to care for him. The boy was malnourished, severely underweight, living out of the car with his aunt, never knowing his sister's body was feet away from him. In Dayton, Ohio, Deshelle Johnson tried to reach her children. She had left them with Nicole in November 2019. She thought it was temporary. She was struggling, could not provide for them. Her sister offered to help. Dachelle believed Nicole would take care of them. Months passed without contact. Dachelle tried calling. No answer. She tried reaching out through other family members. Nicole had disappeared. In March 2021, Dachelle finally got through. She arranged to have her children returned. Nicole never showed up. Dachelle could not find her sister, could not find her children. She did not know they were dead. In Dayton, James Phillips worried. He was the children's great uncle. He and his late wife Evelyn had raised Dachelle from age 7. They helped raise Jocelyn and Larry from birth. Phillips brought the babies home from the hospital. The children called them Papa and Nana. He opposed Dachelle moving back to Baltimore. Her family there never supported her, but Dachelle assured him everything was fine. The kids were doing well. Phillips believed her. He did not know Nicole had Jocelyn's body in a suitcase. He did not know Larry was starving. In May 2021, 2 months before the traffic stop, Larry told Nicole he was tired. He lay down to sleep in the back of the car. Nicole noticed a cut on his left leg. She later told police she could not explain what caused the injury. Larry went to sleep. He never woke up. Nicole did not call 911, did not seek help. She put Larry's body in a plastic tote bag, placed it in the trunk next to his sister's decomposing remains. Both children now dead. Both hidden in the back of a 2008 Ford Focus. Nicole continued driving, living out of her car, the bodies decomposing behind her, the smell growing stronger. She obtained fake temporary tags from West Virginia, drove without insurance, without registration, without a license. She attracted no attention. No one stopped her. No one checked the trunk. The children were not reported missing. There was no formal custody agreement between the sisters. Dachelle had informally left them with Nicole. No paperwork, no legal transfer, no oversight. The COVID-19 pandemic meant schools were disrupted. Social services were overwhelmed. The children fell through every crack in the system. Nicole's own mother, Michelle Johnson, had seen the children in December 2019. They looked malnourished even then. Michelle tried to get them back, called Child Protective Services, called local authorities. She told them the children were in danger. Nothing happened. She could not find Nicole or the children after that. Nicole kept driving. Eastern Boulevard, Pulaski Highway, the streets of Essex and Baltimore County. A woman living in her car with 2 dead children in the trunk. 14 months for Jocelyn. 2 months for Larry. On July 28, 2021, at 11:17 p.m., Nicole was driving fast down Eastern Boulevard. Too fast. An officer assigned to the Essex precinct noticed. Pulled her over near Wagner's Lane. Routine traffic stop. Speeding. Fake tags. The officer approached. Asked for license and registration. Nicole had neither. The car was uninsured. Unregistered. The temporary tag was fake. Standard violations. The car would be towed. Citations issued. Routine. Then Nicole spoke. She said she would not be there in 5 days. She said they would see her on the news. Her big debut. The officer paused. Something was wrong. He told her to remove personal belongings before the tow. Nicole opened the trunk. The smell hit immediately. Unmistakable. The officer knew that smell. Decomposition. Death. He saw maggots crawling inside a trash bag. Saw a suitcase wrapped in a blanket. He ordered Nicole to open it. She hesitated. Unwrapped the blanket slowly. Opened the suitcase. The officer saw Jocelyn's remains. He radioed for backup. Homicide detectives. Crime scene technicians. Nicole tried to run. Officers caught her. A second search revealed Larry's body, stuffed inside the plastic tote. Both children severely decomposed. Both malnourished to the point of skeletal appearance. Both hidden in trash bags like they meant nothing. The entire sequence captured on Bodycam. The officer's voice. The discovery. Nicole's attempt to flee. The backup units arriving. The realization that 2 children had been dead for months. Carried around Baltimore County in the trunk of a Ford Focus. Their aunt driving them past. Schools, hospitals, police stations. Past people who who could have saved them if only someone had known. It was July 28th, 1 week before Larry's 6th birthday. Homicide detectives arrived at the scene on Eastern Boulevard within 20 minutes of the initial discovery. Crime scene technicians photographed the trunk, the suitcase, the plastic tote, the trash bags, the maggots, the decomposed remains of 2 children. Both bodies were transported to the office of the chief medical examiner. The autopsies revealed severe malnourishment. Jocelyn weighed 18 pounds, a 7-year-old child. The average weight for her age was between 45 and 60 pounds. Larry weighed 21 pounds, a 5-year-old boy. Average weight for his age was between 35 and 50 pounds. Medical examiners determined it would have taken several months of starvation to reach those weights. This was not acute trauma. This was prolonged neglect, systematic deprivation of food. Both children had been dying slowly long before their final moments. The level of decomposition made determining exact cause of death impossible. No soft tissue remained to analyze for injury patterns. No organs intact enough to test for poisoning or disease. The medical examiner ruled both deaths homicides by unspecified means. The manner of death was clear. The precise mechanism was not. Detectives interviewed Nicole Johnson. She waived her right to an attorney. She spoke freely. She told them she was the children's aunt. Their mother, Deshelle, had left them with her in November 2019. Deshelle could not care for them. Nicole agreed to take them temporarily. Nicole described May 2020, the Regal Inn on Pulaski Highway. Jocelyn acting up, stealing her belongings. Nicole said she became angry. She hit Jocelyn multiple times. Jocelyn fell, hit her head on the floor, stopped moving. Nicole put the body in a suitcase, kept it in her car trunk, drove around with it for 14 months. She described May 2021. Larry going to sleep in the back of the car, a cut on his leg. She noticed it, but did not seek treatment. Larry never woke up. Nicole said she did not know what killed him. She put his body in a tote bag, placed it next to his sister in the trunk. At no point did Nicole call 911. At no point did she seek medical assistance. At no point did she report the deaths to authorities. She simply kept driving, living out of her car, the bodies decomposing behind her. Detectives contacted Deshelle Johnson in Baltimore. She confirmed leaving the children with Nicole in November 2019. She said she tried multiple times to contact her sister. Phone calls went unanswered, messages ignored. In March 2021, she finally reached Nicole. They arranged for Deshelle to take the children back. Nicole never showed up. Deshelle searched for her sister and her children. She filed no missing persons report. She assumed Nicole had simply moved without telling her. A detective notified Deshelle that her children were dead, had been dead for over a year. Deshelle had spent 14 months trying to find them. They had been in the trunk of Nicole's car the entire time. Detectives traveled to Dayton, Ohio. They interviewed James Phillips. He provided photographs of the children, described their personalities. Jocelyn doting on Larry. Larry getting into mischief. Both of them healthy and happy in Dayton. He confirmed he opposed Deshelle moving back to Baltimore. He said her family there never supported her, but Deshelle assured him the children were fine. He believed her. Investigators examined Nicole's background. No prior arrests. No history with Child Protective Services before this incident. She had worked various jobs over the years. Nothing in her record suggested she was capable of what she did. They examined the timeline. November 2019, children placed in Nicole's care. May 2020, Jocelyn killed. May 2021, Larry dies. July 2021, bodies discovered. 14 months for Jocelyn, 2 months for Larry. Nicole drove around Baltimore County the entire time. Detectives reviewed the fake temporary tags, West Virginia plates, purchased online or obtained through fraud. The tags allowed Nicole to avoid registration checks. No valid license, no insurance. No legitimate reason to be pulled over unless she drove too fast or committed a traffic violation. She committed a traffic violation. Speeding on Eastern Boulevard, the routine stop that ended her freedom. Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt held a press conference. She described the case as devastating. She thanked the officers who responded, the patrol officer who made the initial stop, the forensic technicians who processed the scene, the detectives who conducted the investigation. She promised justice for Jocelyn and Larry. The investigation was complete within 72 hours. The case against Nicole Johnson was straightforward. She confessed. The physical evidence supported every detail. The bodies in her trunk, the malnourishment confirmed by autopsy, the timeline matching her statements. There was no mystery about who killed these children. But the legal path took years. Nicole was arrested on July 30th, 2021, 2 days after the traffic stop. She was charged with 2 counts of first-degree child abuse resulting in death of a child under 13. Additional charges included neglect of a minor, failure to report a death, improper disposal of human remains. The charges carried maximum sentences of life in prison. Nicole waived her right to a bail review. She was held without bond at the Baltimore County Detention Center. She would remain there for the next 3 years. The case moved slowly through the system. COVID-19 had created massive court backlogs. Trials were delayed. Hearings postponed. Nicole's case sat in the queue behind hundreds of others. The prosecution was in no hurry. They had a confession. They had physical evidence. They had autopsy reports confirming malnourishment. Time was on their side. Nicole's initial public defender withdrew. She cycled through multiple attorneys. Each one faced the same impossible task. How do you defend someone who confessed to putting dead children in her trunk and driving around for over a year? The defense strategy became clear. Avoid trial. Negotiate a plea. The evidence was overwhelming. A jury would convict on all counts. Life without parole was possible. Better to plea for a lesser sentence. In August 2024, 3 years after her arrest, Nicole Johnson appeared in Baltimore County Circuit Court. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts of child abuse involving the death of a victim younger than 13. The prosecution agreed to drop the first-degree murder charges in exchange for the plea. Nicole avoided trial, avoided the possibility of life without parole, but she was not avoiding prison. The plea deal included an agreement to cooperate fully with investigators. Nicole provided additional details about the children's final months. She described living in motels, sleeping in her car, moving constantly to avoid detection. She admitted both children had been malnourished for months before their deaths. She confirmed she never sought medical care for either child. She offered no explanation for why she did it, no history of mental illness in her record, no diagnosis of psychosis or severe depression, no substance abuse documented. The question of motive remained unanswered. Nicole simply said she became angry with Jocelyn. She hit her. The child died. She panicked. She hid the body. Larry's death was even less explained. Nicole said he went to sleep and never woke up. She noticed a cut on his leg. She did nothing. He died. She put him in the trunk with his sister. She kept driving. Prosecutors described it as a nightmare. 2 children entrusted to family, both dead, both hidden like trash, both denied dignity, even in death. The Baltimore County Deputy State's Attorney, Lisa Fox Deaver, handled the case. She emphasized the prolonged nature of the abuse, the systematic starvation, the complete indifference to the children's suffering. Sentencing was scheduled for January 28, 2025, but it was delayed, rescheduled for February 10th. The courtroom was packed. Members of the community who had followed the case, advocates for child welfare, journalists documenting the proceedings. James Phillips traveled from Dayton. He brought photographs of Jocelyn and Larry, the children smiling, healthy, alive. He sat in the front row. He wanted Nicole to see what she had destroyed. Deshelle Johnson did not attend. She had not been charged with any crime. Investigators found no evidence she knew the children were in danger. She had tried to get them back. Nicole refused to return them. Deshelle was a victim in this case, but she carried the guilt of leaving her children with her sister. Michelle Johnson, Nicole's own mother and the children's grandmother, had spoken to media in 2021. She said she wanted Nicole to pay. She said she loved her daughter, but wanted her to face the death penalty. She said both her daughters, Nicole and Deshelle, were responsible. She did not attend the sentencing. On February 10, 2025, Nicole Johnson stood before Baltimore County Circuit Judge Nancy M. Purpura. Nicole held her face in her palms. Judge Purpura announced the sentence: life in prison, all but 50 years suspended. Nicole would serve 50 years before becoming eligible for parole. With credit for time served since July 2021, she had already completed 3.5 years. She had 46.5 years remaining. She would be 82 years old when eligible for release. Judge Purpura addressed Nicole directly. She spoke of the children's suffering, the prolonged starvation, the terror they must have felt. She spoke of the community's horror, the officers traumatized by the discovery, the trust violated when family fails to protect the most vulnerable. Nicole said nothing. She stood silently, accepted the sentence without comment. She was transported back to the detention center. She will serve her time in a Maryland state prison. The case was closed. No appeals filed. No motions for sentence reduction. Nicole Johnson admitted what she did. She accepted the consequences. Justice, such as it could be, was served. Nicole Michelle Johnson was 33 years old at the time of her arrest. She had no permanent address. She listed her residence as her 2008 Ford Focus. She had been living out of that car for months, possibly over a year. Moving between motels, parking lots, and side streets across Baltimore County. Her background check revealed no prior criminal history, no arrests, no convictions, no history of violence or abuse documented in any system. She had worked various jobs over the years, retail positions, service industry, nothing stable, nothing long-term. She drifted between employment and unemployment. She was not on any watch lists. Child Protective Services had no open investigations on her before July 2021. She had no documented mental health issues, no psychiatric hospitalizations, no prescriptions for psychotropic medications. On paper, she appeared unremarkable. Her family told a different story. Her own mother, Michelle Johnson, said she had called authorities. She said she saw Jocelyn and Larry in December 2019. They looked malnourished even then. She tried to get them away from Nicole, called Child Protective Services, called local police. Nothing happened. The system failed to intervene. Deshelle Johnson, the children's mother, told detectives she tried repeatedly to contact Nicole. Phone calls went unanswered, messages ignored. When she finally reached Nicole in March 2021, they arranged to meet so Deshelle could take the children back. Nicole never showed. Deshelle searched but could not find her sister. She did not file a missing persons report for the children. She assumed Nicole had simply moved without telling her. Nicole's arrest occurred at the scene of the traffic stop. She was placed in handcuffs after attempting to flee. She was transported to the Essex precinct for initial processing. Homicide detectives interviewed her there. She waived her right to an attorney. She confessed to everything. She told detectives she hit Jocelyn in May 2020. The child fell and hit her head. Nicole put the body in a suitcase, kept it in her trunk, drove around for 14 months. She told them Larry died in May 2021, went to sleep and never woke up. She put his body in a tote bag, placed it next to his sister. She was formally charged on July 30th, 2021, 2 days after the traffic stop. 10 criminal counts total. 2 counts of first-degree child abuse resulting in death of a child under 13. 2 counts of second-degree child abuse. 2 counts of neglect of a minor. 1 count of failure to report a death. 1 count of concealing evidence. 2 counts of improper disposal of human remains. She appeared before a judge for a bail hearing. She waived her right to a bail review. The judge ordered her held without bond. She was transported to the Baltimore County Detention Center. Prosecutors announced they would seek the maximum sentence, life in prison. The Baltimore County State's Attorney's Office held a press conference. They described the case as one of the most horrific they had encountered. 2 children starved, murdered, hidden in trash bags, their aunt driving around with their decomposing bodies for months. Nicole was assigned a public defender. She cycled through multiple attorneys over the next 3 years. Each faced the same impossible challenge: the confession, the physical evidence, the autopsy results. No viable defense existed. In August 2024, Nicole pleaded guilty to 2 counts of child abuse involving death of a victim under 13. She avoided trial. The prosecution dropped the first-degree charges in exchange for the plea, but she was not avoiding prison. Her sentencing was scheduled for January 2025, delayed until February. On February 10th, she appeared before Judge Nancy M. Purpura. She received life in prison with all but 50 years suspended. Nicole Michelle Johnson will serve 50 years. She will be 82 when eligible for parole. She is currently incarcerated in a Maryland state prison. She has filed no appeals. Nicole Johnson pleaded guilty on August 13, 2024, 3 years after her arrest. She admitted to 2 counts of child abuse, resulting in the death of a child under 13. She signed the plea agreement in Baltimore County Circuit Court. She waived her right to trial. She accepted responsibility for killing Jocelyn and Larry. The prosecution dropped the first-degree murder charges, dropped several lesser charges, in exchange for the guilty plea. They still pursued the maximum sentence allowed under the child abuse statutes: life in prison with most of the sentence suspended. On February 10, 2025, Judge Nancy M. Purpura sentenced Nicole to life in prison, all but 50 years suspended. Nicole will serve a minimum of 50 years before becoming eligible for parole. With time served since her arrest in July 2021, she has approximately 46 years remaining. She is currently incarcerated in a Maryland State Correctional Facility for women. She has filed no appeals. She accepted the sentence without protest. The case is closed. Deshelle Johnson, the children's mother, was never charged with any crime. Investigators found no evidence she knew the children were in danger. She had left them with Nicole because she could not provide for them. She tried to get them back. Nicole refused to return them. Deshelle carries the guilt but bears no criminal responsibility. Michelle Johnson, Nicole's mother and the children's grandmother, spoke publicly after the arrest. She said she wanted both her daughters to pay: Nicole for killing the children, Deshelle for leaving them with Nicole. She said she had tried to warn authorities. She called Child Protective Services. She called police. No one listened. No system protected Jocelyn and Larry. James Phillips remains in Dayton, Ohio. He keeps photographs of the children in his home. He remembers them as beautiful, lovable kids. Jocelyn doting on her little brother. Larry getting into mischief. He attended Nicole's sentencing. He brought photographs to show the court. He wanted everyone to see what was lost. A prayer vigil was held on August 2nd, 2021, Essex Park and Ride on Eastern Boulevard. Community members gathered to remember Jocelyn and Larry. Delegate Rick Metzgar organized the event. Neighbors who never knew the children attended. They lit candles. They prayed for justice. Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt commended the officers involved: the patrol officer who made the traffic stop, the detectives who investigated, the forensic technicians who processed the scene. She acknowledged the trauma they experienced, the nightmare they witnessed. She promised the department would provide support. Jocelyn Marie James Johnson was 7 years old. Larry Darnell O'Neill was 5 years old. They were brother and sister. They should have been protected. They were not. Their aunt kept them in the trunk of her car for months, like trash.